Hey guys, welcome back to Into Uncharted Waters. I'm your host, Anya Bohill, and today we're going to be talking about red flags in all types of relationships. Those are the warning signs we sometimes ignore but really shouldn't. From jealousy and controlling behavior to gaslighting and emotional manipulation, we're breaking down the biggest red flags, why people overlook them, and how to handle them. Plus, we've got some funny stories and real talk on setting boundaries and trusting your gut. Let's get into it.
I'm Naomi.
And I'm Mia.
And today they're here to talk about red flags with us. Now we're going to get into the fun game part. So both girls are given a red or a green flag, and then they get to decide whether the statement I read is a red flag or green flag. Okay, number 1. They introduce you to their friends early on and want to hang out as a group.
Green flag.
Okay, yeah, I say green flag too.
Okay. They ask for your password to your phone to keep things honest.
Red.
That's weird.
Yeah, that's really weird.
Okay, number 3. Someone you're working closely with never initiates conversations, but expect to be included in everything. So when you reach out to them, they're very responsive, but only when they need something.
Red. They're using you.
Or they just don't know how to communicate, and that's really annoying.
Yeah, okay. So number 4, they get upset if you make plans without them, even though you've already discussed boundaries around personal time.
I say beige flag because
Beige.
you know, they want to spend time with you. I think that's can be sweet, you know.
No. I feel like it gets to a point, you can't always be with them. I need time with my friends too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, valid
If they get
opinions.
mad, then if they're yelling at me, then no, that's weird.
But if they're
But if they're just oh, can I come too? Then that's nice, you know.
Literally.
Okay, number 5, they want to they want you to share your location with them at 24/7 to make sure you're safe.
Green, yeah.
But don't you think that's kind of weird? They
No,
always
unless they're,
controlling in a way.
If they're texting me and saying why were you gone? I don't know, something weird. Then that's weird. But I don't know. I feel having their location or my location is fine. You know.
Yeah, that's normal.
What? Okay, first question. What are red flags?
Things in a guy that are bad and make you stop.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a warning.
Yep.
Okay. Because the literal definition is a warning sign or signal or something that indicates or draws attention to a problem, danger, or irregularity. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. What do you think some common red flags are?
I don't know.
I like hypocrites.
A lot of people think that guys being too controlling, or is this for friendship or
Well, and you can whatever
okay,
all around.
Yeah, being too controlling. That's a big one, a common one. What else?
I feel very, very clingy.
Okay.
Yeah. Not putting enough
Effort
in. Yeah.
What do you think about lying?
That's a
Dishonesty.
Okay, but obviously there's some cases where it's
that's
fine,
true.
but yeah, most of the time dishonesty is
Have you been lied to in a relationship?
yes, so many times.
Did you learn anything from how did that affect your trust?
I kind of am a forgetful person, so I'll remember that they lied for forgetful.
Okay.
So I'll forget that they lied in a week, but while they do, while I still remember, it can get annoying.
Yeah.
Or I get mad. Yeah.
Okay, next. What should you do when you see a red flag?
Run. Because if you don't, you're gonna get attached, and then you're gonna make excuses for that person, and then you can just never really get out. So
yeah.
Or you know, you can sometimes fix stuff, you know.
Mm-hmm.
No, you can't. I'm always oh, I can fix him, and it never works. No.
But sometimes you can.
You can work through it. Is that what you mean by fixing things?
Yeah, I guess work through it. I don't know.
Okay.
I feel yeah. Draw attention to the fact that they're doing something bad, you know?
Okay, so bring it up, talk about it. Yeah.
That's
That's a good piece of
And
advice.
if they don't want to change, then
Leave.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Be straightforward with it.
Okay. So just get to the point, say what's happening rather than
Yeah, don't ignore it.
Ignoring
make
it.
Excuses for it.
The worst thing you could ever do in a relationship is ignore them.
Mm-hmm.
Don't ignore someone if you're mad. That's
just
stupid.
gets worse.
And why do you think like people ignore red flags out of fear, or, like out of the fear of like being alone or not wanting to like hurt someone's feelings?
Because they really like someone and they don't want to
Upset them.
yeah,
Or like lose them.
or lose them. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Is there an instance where you handled it well though? Like, do you confide in friends? Like, if you see something concerning, what do you do first? Do you ignore it? Do you?
Well,
I kind of called them out.
Okay. And how does that go? Do you think it works?
There was one person who I talked to for a while. Who I was like, yeah, and wait, hold on. Okay, and so I like felt really comfortable with him. So whenever something bad would happen, like typically I would kind of just like call it out. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. And how do you think that like would go? Would he be like responsive to it, or was he like a bit toxic?
Sometimes he would not like it when I called him out on stuff, and he would get kind of mad. But like I don't know, like
Okay.
He was like nice about this stuff. Like when I told him like that he was doing something wrong, he would like be like he would like listen. Like,
Yeah.
he would hear me out, you know.
Did you see change though? Because sometimes people like say stuff, but they never follow through. Like, do you think there was like, did he become better? Like, I want to say better in a way, but did he change?
Yeah, sometimes. Sometimes he would change what he's doing. Yeah, I don't know.
Naomi, do you have anything to share or add?
I feel like people I've talked to have been a little more on the mature side.
Yeah, that's good. So you work through most of your problems by just bringing the issue up and working towards it. Okay. Oh my god. Okay, now Mia and Naomi are going to share some stories and what they learned from it.
So I don't really have like a story to follow with this one. It's kind of just like a good piece of advice, you
Okay.
know? So if you feel like you're like not being valued and you need to talk to them about that.
Okay.
And if they don't change anything, then drop them because you're better than that. And
Okay.
you don't deserve that.
Okay.
Go ahead, Naomi.
So mine is more like, okay, I'm just gonna tell like a story. So this was, I would say, like a summer or two ago, and I
Okay.
met this guy at church camp, and you know we like exchanged information or whatnot, and then we like went home and like we lived like kind of close. So yeah, and then we just kind of like started talking and like FaceTiming, and then he like was like, "Would you want to hang out?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure. Like we want to do." And he's like, like let's go to the mall. And I was like, okay, that's cool. Like, and then he was like, what do you want to do? And I was like, yeah, like that's fine. And then he like asked to do some other stuff, and I was just like, no.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't comfortable with that,
Yeah.
and like it felt like that's like all he would ask me about, and so like that's a red flag. And if any guy like ever asks you to do something that you're not comfortable with, just like it's okay to say no. Like just say no and. Kind of, I blocked him because I knew that I would go back if I didn't. So,
good for you.
Yeah, if you guys have, like, issues with, like, going back, I say block them, delete their number out of your phone. Like, have your friends hold you, like, accountable for, like, not going back. And that really helped me.
Saying no is okay.
Yes.
Kind of like, I guess, on that topic, I forgot what I was gonna say.
You're fine.
Okay, so this is kind of like a story, like, following up with that, like, similar. So I had this one guy, he, like, I told him, basically, so, like, we had, like, a lot of, like, stuff in the past, and, I told him, like, not to tell anyone about this one thing. I was like, oh, like, I think we should just, like, keep this between us, because, like, you know, blah, 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 and, like, obviously he's gonna tell someone, but like I really, really wanted him not to. I was like, I don't even care, like, and I just told him like I was like, don't even tell your best friend, like, all this stuff.
Keep it private.
Yeah, and then he told his best friend, but like I didn't care that much because like I was really close to his friends too, so like but it was still like, you know, if they don't respect your boundaries, like that's definitely like not a good sign. Like they should always like care for you and like put you like above like, oh, like I want my friend to know this because it might make me seem cool or something like that. So, like, always, like, make sure that they, like, put, like, your best interest first.
And not even that, but just being respectful.
Yeah.
So if you say something and they don't respect that, then that's not good.
For sure. I mean, like, that was, like, a very, like, not that big of a deal. But, like, there has definitely been bigger cases that, like, my friends and stuff have, like, told me that I've been like, whoa.
Yeah.
Not good.
So have you, I know we touched on this briefly, but have you yourselves ever ignored a red flag? And, like, what happened and, like, what did you learn from it?
I've actually ignored many red flags. I actually have a whole list of red flags on my notes app that I've ignored.
Okay.
I'm not gonna read all of them because
That's okay.
But
share what you're comfortable sharing.
Okay. Basically, just, like, the whole idea is just that, like, he did not treat me, I don't know, the way that I felt like, it was, like, kind of, like, the way that I felt like a friend would treat me, you know, like, he kind of said some mean stuff to me, and, wasn't very nice about some stuff, so, yeah, it ended up not going, like, well, but, yeah, like, my advice is, like, don't go back to someone because, like no matter, like, how much you think they've changed, because even if they have changed, like, it's still not good to, like, revisit that. Like, they were taken out of your life for a reason.
For sure.
And, like, why would you, like, want to go back to that, you know? Like,
yeah.
If, like, there's obviously a reason that y'all aren't meant to be together, and there's, like, so many people, like, who you can be with. So,
yeah.
I don't know, like, also just, like, trust your gut. Like, if you really feel like, oh, like, I don't know, like, it might work out or something, like, then, and you feel, like, really, really strongly about that, then, like, yeah, but if you're like, oh, maybe, like, I don't know, then, like, definitely don't.
For sure. Do you think you kind of felt pressure to stay in this relationship a little bit just because of, like, any, like, connection you thought was, like, deeper, and these were just, like, minor arguments you were having, or were you, like, ready to, like, be done?
No, yeah, I definitely felt like I don't know, I was gonna stay in this relationship for, like, as long as possible, but then we got in this, like, one big fight, and then, like, he kind of did something that, like, kind of, like, really upset me, and then I did something that upset him, and, like, that's what we got in the fight about, is, like, the thing that I did, and then after that, like, he did that bad thing, and then, we kind of didn't talk for, like, 4 days, and so I called him, and we just, like, ended stuff.
Yeah, and sometimes that's for the better.
Yeah.
Okay, Naomi.
Okay, so mine are more like, I kind of, like, when I look for, like, a relationship or, like, a partner, I look for someone that, like, I can, like, joke around with and, like, laugh. Like, I kind of want, like, a best friend
for sure.
and more. So I was talking to this one guy, and he just, like, couldn't hold a conversation. And it was just really awkward, and, like, I just didn't really want to interact with him. I don't know. It was, like, weird, and then we never called. He didn't really know anything about me, and then, like, we would talk, like, once a month, which is, like, not, I feel like that's not normal.
Yeah.
And then I also, like, want to say, like, don't always text first. Like, if you find yourself, like, initiating, like, text first, or, like, FaceTiming people,
conversation,
like,
all the time.
Exactly.
Got
Like,
it.
obviously you want it more than them. So, like, I suggest, like, just not texting them and seeing if they text you. And then if they do, then, like, they care about you. But if they don't, I would just move on.
Good point. And what are some, like, examples of red flags in either, like, relationships, friendships, or even, like, family dynamics that might be harder to spot than just, like, your simple, like, lying, cheating, manipulation?
I think, like, a big part of, like, I don't know, I feel like Naomi said, like, you should not always have to be the one to, like, initiate stuff, I guess. So, like, you shouldn't always be texting first. You shouldn't always be, like, organizing, like, when y'all are hanging out and stuff like that. You shouldn't be, like, getting groups together and stuff for them, like, and that's kind of hard to realize sometimes, like, if you really like them, because, like, you're kind of gonna be like, oh, like, I like them so much, so I'm just gonna text them, and I, like, you're just texting them over and over again, so you feel like oh, we're always talking, but, like, you don't even realize, like, but you're the one always, like, starting it.
Okay, this one's, like, I don't know, this might not be a common one, but a few guys I've talked to have, like, said I love you within, like, 2 days of talking. And I feel like that's a real, like, red flag, because, like, it might, like, seem sweet in the moment, and, like, you might, like, really like them, but first of all, you don't really, like, know
that is actually hella relatable. That's
so, like, love bombing you.
Yeah, those
okay.
never end
he was really nice. He's like one of the nicest guys I've ever met, but it was still like really weird, and I was like, oh, I don't like you like that. I don't even know you like that.
So do you like recommend just being like straight up with somebody when something like that happens?
Yeah. No, I think his friend told him to text me that, but I was like, what in the world? And he texted me that, and I was like, I'm sorry, I don't know you like that.
Yeah. And that's okay. Being straightforward is good. And just like, rather than like leading them on or like prolonging it, just be honest about what you're feeling.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, do you think there's a difference between a red flag and a simple like misunderstanding? And like, how can you tell the difference between the two?
I think for sure, like, I feel like a red flag is something that like consistently is happening like over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
And then like, just like a mistake, like, you know, like a mistake is something like it's just happening once, like maybe twice, like you bring it to their attention, they're like, oh my god, like I'm so sorry, and like it won't happen again, and then they actually like try not to do it again.
Yeah,
they try to change it. Like a red flag is like, you know,
for sure.
Yeah, I agree with Mia on that. I think a red flag is like continuous, and and the mistake, I feel like if either one, you still have to talk to them about it.
Yeah.
And then I would kind of just, like, keep track of it. And then after, like, I have this thing where, like, if they do it, I don't know, like, repetitively, I just cut them off.
Yeah.
And then if they ask, like, what's wrong, I'm like, I say what it is. And if they still don't fix it, then I'm just like.
Yeah. No, I think that's a great way to put it. Red flags are something more continuous. And that's, like, it's more of a pattern. And then misunderstandings you can definitely work through, and I think if you're both mature enough to like communicate through your problems, I think that's like kind of how you can keep the relationship working. Okay, what role does intuition play in recognizing red flags?
I think that like, I don't know, especially if something like I said before, if something has already happened, definitely be like really wary of that. But also just, like, I don't know, trust your gut, like, trust yourself. And, like, you're, like, if it's, like, a really, really, really good friend, like, a really good friend that, like, it'd be, like, horrible if you lost, like, you're not going to have a bad gut feeling about them. Like,
yeah, for sure.
So I feel like, I don't know. And if you know something's wrong, definitely, like, try to distance yourself. Like, don't use all your time and don't like use all your energy just like trying to like entertain them, you know. Try to like be like your own person. Like obviously that's like a common thing that people say, but like
right.
It really is true. Like don't just like only like rely on them. Like I know everyone says like don't put your eggs in one basket, but like that's like a really good one. Like don't put your eggs in one basket.
Okay, for sure. Naomi?
Yeah, I still like agree with Mia on that. Like kind of, I don't know, like find like a group that you trust, and this has nothing to do with intuition.
No, that's fine. Like,
okay,
go for it. Just go for
I
it.
would just kind of like find like surround yourself with people that are like similar but also different than you, because I find myself like when I have friends that I'm just like, it's kind of like boring because like it's like talking to yourself.
Right.
So I feel like you should like one of my best friends, we're the complete opposite. Like she's actually but yeah, we're just like really different, and I like being around her because we just kind of like it's not boring, you know. Like
right.
I get different perspectives on stuff.
For sure, that's a good way to look at it.
Talk about different things, and like she can kind of like educate me on like other things that are happening in the world that I wouldn't like just go on my phone and like look for, you know.
Yeah. All right, next question. How do you feel about second chances when it comes to red flags? Can they ever be worked through, or is it like better to walk away early?
Okay, so, if you're watching, you know who you are.
Okay.
One guy who we've literally, like, gone back together, like, around 7 times, maybe, like, 6 times, I don't know.
Okay.
Something like that. And I think that stuff, like, can change a lot. And I think that, like, obviously, like, people can change. But, like, I think that, like, before, like, getting back into a relationship, like, I think that people need to take, like, I don't know. In my experience, like, I think I should have taken a lot more time, like, in between each one.
Mm-hmm.
Like, kind of, like, trying to make sure that, like, I wasn't just, like, going back in it for, like, my past feelings and, like, really like getting down like a foundation that like we are like supposed to like that's like my person, you know, like
For sure.
not just like kind of like going off like, oh, but like in the past I really liked how like blah 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 and like blah blah blah, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I've also gone back a lot, which is not good. I think it wasn't. Hold on, I need to think.
That's fine.
I like forgot that. Okay, so my like going back thing was, it was kind of out of like guilt. Like I would feel bad for like the guy I was like talking to or whatever. But my like advice to anyone is, do you really like them or do you just like their attention? Because I genuinely think like they weren't really attractive. They weren't that funny. Like I didn't like, I don't know. I just liked the attention of like being complimented and like, I don't know. Like I could always like, he was always there. Like I could always call somebody or like, yeah. So I just really like the attention. And if you're like that, then I would just like stop it, because you could also kind of be hurting them.
Right.
If you don't like feel the same way, because I didn't like this guy at all. I just really like attention. Well, like, not really, but like I do. So yeah, you have to think about like how that impacts like the other person as well. Yeah.
So like whether you like the idea of him or him as a person.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
For sure. Okay, Mia, do you have any?
So like when it comes to like friends, I think that like I said before, like about like relationships, like if y'all have like stopped like being friends or like stopped like whatever before, like there was a reason for that, and like they were like taken out of your lives for a reason, like I said. And so I just feel like you should never be as close with a friend, or like not never, but like typically if you like if something like really bad happened, you shouldn't be like as close with a friend as you were like before, you know, like like unless it's like there's like obviously like I said before again, like circumstances in which that's like there's like an exception, but yeah, that's what I'd say for like a lot of the times. Like don't just like assume that you're gonna be like how you were before y'all ended being friends.
Yeah, I think for like myself too, in any friendships that I've been, it's always started out well, and there's something that happens, or there's like a pattern of things that happen like over time, and then like one day you kind of just like want to leave. But I think people can always change for sure, and I think people can, like, as time moves on, people do get better. So like giving people a chance is also important, but if they're doing is like really manipulative or like really bad, then you have to learn to like stand up for yourself. I think that's important. Saying no and standing up for yourself, that's the most important that you can do for yourself.
Yep.
Okay, what is it? Well, is there a red flag, even if you've like noticed it early on in either a relationship or friendship, that would make you walk away like immediately, like no questions asked?
Yeah, I think that's something that really bothers me, is like when people get, I don't know, I feel like I'm like not really good at like walking away from like relationships, and that's definitely something I need to work on.
Yeah.
Like, if something's hurting me, like I need to like walk away more easily. But I think that's something that like really makes me like really like question my relationship with someone, is if like we're constantly getting in fights. Like that's something that like definitely like if that's happening, like it's not a good relationship for you. Or you can talk to them about it and be like, hey, like what's going on here, you know. But like if they're always getting mad at you and stuff, like then y'all just probably aren't like compatible as like friends or whatever.
Yeah. Okay. Do you think people can truly change, or like say like you spot a red flag, do you think that's something that's always going to be there?
I think it depends, but I don't know. I think that some things can change, but I think that there's some things that people just like, that's just how they are, you know?
Like a habit. Once it's there, it's always going to be there.
Yeah, and obviously people can break habits. Like,
right.
I don't know. I think like anything can change, but even if someone does change, like they kind of like there's sometimes they still need to know like, oh, like what I did was so messed up that like I may never get this person back, you know?
For sure. Naomi, do you have?
I'd say like I also like agree. Like sometimes it's their personality more of, and I don't know. In that case, I would just kind of distance myself from them. But I've kind of been lucky for like all my life. Really, I've always had like good relationships with like friends and stuff. So, yeah.
And do you think that's because, I don't want to say you're, like, strict about what you're, but you're, like, setting your boundaries with guys and, like, making sure, well, also, like, a lot of self-respect for yourself and others. Is that what's, like, been working?
I think at the beginning, like, no. Like, it's probably, like, it was a big red flag, and then I just kind of ignored them. And then in the next, like, relationship or talking stage, I was like, okay, so-and-so did this. If this guy does this, then I just need to, like, move on. And I think that's another like piece of advice for anybody. If a guy does something that like you just like don't want to like, I don't know, admit that he's doing something wrong, when you move on to like the next person, make sure that they don't do the same thing.
Yeah, make sure. Yeah, I'd agree with that one. Like definitely bring it to their attention. Like, oh, like this person did like blah blah, and like it really like hurt my feelings or like made me feel uncomfortable. Like blah blah blah, and I don't know, just, like, letting them know that, like, that's, like, a big, like, thing that, like, you have is, like, definitely, like, really important.
Yeah.
For sure.
And then, like, as you move on, each relationship will get better. Because, like, I think it's kind of, like, when you're in, like, I've actually only dated one person, but, like, talking stages, like, that's, like, a good chance to kind of, like, take things slow and then you get, like, okay, here's my thing. Talking stages, I feel like they should be anywhere from like 2 to 4 months because yes.
No.
Yes, because you could be talking to somebody and then they ask to date and you say yes and then all their true colors show and then you kind of feel like obligated to stay with them and then you like just like can't leave. So a longer talking, not a year, not 2 years. If a talking stage is 2 years, leave.
She's speaking from experience.
Yes, I am. Leave, please. Like even if they beg and you feel bad, like it's not gonna work out.
Yes. Say no and walk away.
You're gonna get tired of them.
Especially if you told them that you want to date. And they said they're not ready after a year. I do disagree with Naomi, though, based on what you said earlier. I think that 2 to 4 months is absurd unless there's specific circumstances. Like, if they have it's just, like, say, like, not speaking from experience, but just, like, a random example is, like, if they have, like, a really bad reputation, you know?
Yeah.
And you don't want to, like, carry that on, you know, like, you can just, like, kind of, like, see if, like, their reputation is really, like, true, or if that's just, like, the rep, you know?
Yeah, if you can make a different impression of them.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, to close the episode off, what is one final piece of advice you would just give to anyone in general regarding this topic?
Okay, mine would probably be if you're in, wait, can I say 2, actually?
Yeah.
Okay, so for relationships, if you're talking to somebody, I would say kind of talk to your friends or like someone that you trust about that relationship too, because you could just be really like, what's the word?
Like blindsided?
Yes, okay. That. Like blindsided because you like that person so much, but they could really be like a bad person and you just don't realize it. So I would say just kind of like talk to your friends about it so they can kind of like be like, that's not normal or like that's rude and you don't just like kind of ignore it. And then for friends, I say, actually I don't really have one for friends, so.
All right, Mia, you're up.
I'd say like for like new relationships, you should always put yourself first. Or not like, I don't know, don't be like greedy obviously, but like if something like you don't feel if something you don't feel comfortable with or upsets you, then definitely like take note of that and like don't get close to that person. But if it's like a longer relationship, you can like I think that a relationship should always be like kind of balanced almost. Like you give and you get.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously you don't like expect, like it shouldn't be like oh, like I gave you $10 so now you have to pay me back. Like I don't know, that's just like not how it works. Like, well, I guess sometimes it is. I don't really know what I'm trying to say, but like you get what I'm saying. Like,
yeah,
just like kind of like don't neglect your friends, but also like don't like expect too much from them and stuff.
So, like, put yourself first, but not in, like, a greedy way, as she was saying.
Exactly.
But, like, make sure you know what you want and you're being respected. I think that's both great pieces of advice. Well, thank you all for listening. This has probably been one of my favorite episodes to film. It's filled with great advice and stories. So we'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you.
Bye.